Psalm 127 begins with a sentence that can feel almost too simple: unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. But that line is not a slogan against planning, effort, skill, responsibility, or careful work. It is a warning against work that forgets dependence. That matters because many of us do not only work. We lean on work. We ask it to justify us, secure us, prove us, protect us, and sometimes save us from the vulnerability of being creatures. Psalm 127 speaks right into that pressure. It does not say builders should stop building. It does not say watchmen should stop watching. It does not praise passivity. It asks whether our labor is being carried in trust, or whether our labor has quietly become a replacement for trust. So in this study, we are going to walk slowly through Psalm 127 verses 1 to 2 and ask what it teaches about work, rest, limits, and dependence. The psalm opens, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain." The first thing to notice is that there really are builders. The verse does not imagine a world where human work disappears. Houses do not assemble themselves. Families, communities, cities, ministries, and ordinary responsibilities involve real human labor. The Bible is not embarrassed by that. Genesis 2 gives work before the fall. Adam is placed in the garden to work it and keep it. Proverbs praises diligence. Paul tells believers to work heartily as for the Lord. So Psalm 127 is not anti-work. But it does say something deeply humbling: work is not self-sufficient. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. That word vain does not mean the task looked small or unimpressive. It means the labor cannot finally secure what it is trying to secure when it is cut off from the Lord. A house can be built and still not become the place of blessing the builders imagined. A project can succeed on paper and still fail at the level of wisdom, love, justice, worship, or peace. A person can achieve the thing and still be hollowed out by the way they pursued it. Psalm 127 asks us to see that the Lord is not an accessory added after the real work is done. He is the one on whom the work depends. Then the psalm gives a second image: unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Again, the watchman is not rebuked for watching. Cities need watchmen. Responsible vigilance is part of ordinary life. Parents watch over children. Leaders watch over communities. Pastors watch over souls. Workers watch over details. Citizens watch over neighborhoods and institutions. The issue is not whether watching is good. The issue is whether watching has become ultimate. The watchman can stay awake, but the city is not finally kept by the watchman. Human vigilance has limits. We cannot see everything. We cannot control every outcome. We cannot guarantee the future by staying tense enough, alert enough, informed enough, or exhausted enough. That is why Psalm 127 is so direct. It names the exhaustion that comes when finite people try to carry infinite responsibility. Verse 2 says, "It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved sleep." The phrase anxious toil is painfully modern, even though the psalm is ancient. Rising early and going late to rest can describe diligence. But here the pattern has become driven by anxiety. The person is eating the bread of anxious toil. Work is no longer simply service. It has become a way of trying to hold the world together. And the psalm says that way of life is vain. Not because the tasks do not matter. Not because responsibility is fake. Not because faithful people should be careless. But because anxious toil asks work to do what only God can do. Then comes the mercy: he gives to his beloved sleep. Sleep is not laziness in this verse. Sleep is trust embodied. When you sleep, you admit that the world continues without your conscious control. You admit that you are not the Lord. You admit that your body has limits. You admit that your workday can end before every problem is solved. That can feel threatening if your identity is built on productivity, vigilance, or control. But Psalm 127 calls sleep a gift given to the beloved. That phrase matters. God does not give sleep because the beloved have earned it by finishing everything. He gives sleep because they are beloved. This corrects two opposite mistakes. One mistake is laziness dressed up as spirituality. Someone might say, unless the Lord builds the house, I do not need to build. Unless the Lord watches the city, I do not need to watch. But that is not the psalm. The builders build. The watchman watches. Human responsibility remains real. The other mistake is hustle dressed up as faithfulness. Someone might say, if I really care, I must always be working, always available, always proving, always guarding, always anxious. But that is not the psalm either. The Lord gives sleep to his beloved. Psalm 127 holds both truths together. Work is real, and God is ultimate. Vigilance matters, and God is the keeper. Responsibility is good, and creaturely limits are good. That has practical force for ordinary life. If you are building something, a family, a ministry, a business, a class, a habit, a project, a home, Psalm 127 does not tell you to stop caring. It asks whether your building is prayerful, dependent, and ordered under the Lord. If you are watching over something, a child, a church, a classroom, a team, a fragile season, Psalm 127 does not tell you to become careless. It asks whether your vigilance has become a form of unbelief. And if you are exhausted because you cannot stop carrying things in your mind, this psalm does not mock you. It gives you a better word. You are not the builder of ultimate blessing. You are not the keeper of the city. You are beloved before you are productive. You are a creature before you are a worker. And the Lord is not asleep when you are. That does not answer every hard question about labor, pressure, poverty, vocation, parenting, leadership, or responsibility. Psalm 127 is not a full theology of work in 2 verses. But it gives a crucial correction. The question is not only, how can I do more? A better question is, what work has God actually given me, and what burden am I trying to carry that belongs in His hands? Another question is, where has diligence become anxious toil? Another is, what would it look like to receive sleep, not as failure, but as a gift from the Lord to His beloved? This is why Psalm 127 belongs in a conversation about work and rest. Rest is not merely fuel for more work. Rest is not a productivity strategy. Rest is not an escape from faithfulness. Rest is a confession that the Lord builds, the Lord watches, and the Lord gives. And work, when it is received rightly, becomes service instead of self-salvation. So Psalm 127 does not make work smaller. It puts work back in its proper place. Under the Lord. Inside dependence. Within creaturely limits. And held by the God who gives sleep to His beloved.